What's good? What's good, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of The Urban Platform Speaks. Make sure to like and subscribe as you tune into the channel. Check out the content. Today, I got my man Jim in here today. Jim, you wasn't in here last week, was you?
No, I was. Yeah, I doing the house thing. Housework.
Yeah, doing the house. Yeah, and
Yeah.
Clayton, you
Yes,
back
sir.
too from last week?
Yeah.
Yeah, you back? Yeah, man.
I had to go to Annapolis Saturday. Yeah. Jim, you off
Yeah.
punishment, huh? You can come out and play today, huh?
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Yeah, man.
Crazy.
Yeah. So I think before we came on air, Clayton, like all the stuff that all the three of us was talking about, kind of it ties into what I want to talk about as far as like the WNBA, right?
Mhm.
And so I don't know if y'all remember or not, but I said a while ago that I didn't think that the WNBA and the NBA was going to allow Caitlin Clark to I thought they was going to like kind of put like a glass ceiling in her way, so to speak. And not that it's personal against Caitlin Clark, but I just don't think that the WNBA is going to allow her to help this league grow the way the league can grow. And the reason why I say that is because, like, number one, they're not really leaning into like the success or the potential for success that Caitlin Clark can bring to the league. And it seems like some of the decisions they're making is more so standing in the way than it is helping the league to grow. And I kind of thought that even from like the first from the very beginning when Caitlin Clark was coming into the league.
And what do you think the motivation behind that is?
And see, all right, so from the beginning, I don't know like how y'all might feel about that, but from the beginning, I always thought it was about money. And I like the pie. The pie is is what it is, like meaning like the pool of money that's like the sponsors and everything is the same. And I just think that they're going to like if the WNBA players get paid more, then that means you have to divide that pie up more. If advertisers spend more money on the WNBA, then that's more people that you have to divide that money up with. You know what I mean? I think it's more so out of greed, and it probably like some sexism might play a part in it as far as like stifling the growth of the WNBA. But I think it's money, it's a big part of it though.
Do you think that there's so the culture of the WNBA has always been different than the culture of the NBA.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't put my I mean I've got some. It feels like there's kind of a narrative that they really want, and maybe this is just me looking at women's sports differently,
Mm-hmm.
but it feels like there's a narrative or an agenda that is kind of layered on top of the idea of sports,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I don't know if that is the external culture or the internal culture. What do you guys think?
I think I know where you're going with it. I
Yeah.
believe I know where you're going with it.
Yeah.
And I think it's the internal thing with the WNBA and the players involved, and even some of the management and coaches and front office. Mike mentioned the term sexism. Yeah, it's tough to say, but
yeah, because
I
I
do,
mean I'm on the outside, and
yeah,
obviously you know where I'm going with that, but
I do know where
Right.
you're going with it. At. I
that's
do know
just
where you're going.
that's just my impression, right?
It
So
feels that way. It feels strongly that way.
way.
Most of the
Yeah.
coaches
Yeah.
they have certain sexuality.
Yeah. Right.
The front office people, the whole league, it's more of that than the opposite.
Right.
And but to speak to Mike's point, as far as them not, to me, I think they are leaning in to Caitlin. I think they're trying to use Caitlin, but at the same time suppress her. So because if they wasn't trying to use her, you wouldn't have all those fever games on television that they got now.
Yeah.
They don't want and then also they just signed a new TV deal. That TV deal is signed. So, to suggest that they don't want growth, I think they want growth, but I don't think they want at the same time, I think it's forces trying to keep her shine suppressed to some degree because they want somebody else to be like up front, the face of it all.
Think so?
And I see that more than I see them not wanting to grow.
Yeah, I think. Go ahead. Welcome back, Tom. Good to have you back, Tom. Yeah, I just think that all right. With the women's league, I think there's a glass ceiling on the women's league because the women's league has never been really promoted the way men's. Like, all right, so we just spoke about like the like the ring culture as far as men's, you know what I mean? Like that was a big discussion, ring culture. But we never really hear about like ring culture when it comes to women. And far as like in the pageantry and the tradition and stuff that come along with like men's sports. But when we talk about like, ring, it's not as big when it comes to the women. So that's why I think it's kind of suppressed as far as the women is concerned. They don't really lean into that.
Well, I will say this. Television networks, shows, producers, they tend to lean into what their audience is craving. So whatever's going on with the WNBA and it has been going on for a long time, I don't think it's been a direct effort to suppress that league. I think it's been no one in that league, no players or anything as great as they have been someone that come along and captivate people, making everybody watch. And once everybody's watching, then the networks give the people what they want because that's viewership. I don't think if the WNBA, because you got to remember, these girls been exposed in college, just like Cailin was. They were exposed in college. Maya Moore and all the great ones that came before, they was exposed in college. Cheryl Miller was exposed, all these people was exposed in college, right? So for whatever reason, it didn't take on this, it didn't take on this like what it did for Cailin. It didn't become this like it did for Cailin, and you got a lot of individuals trying to explain why. I've heard on the facility, they was talking earlier about, Shady McCoy was like, why are they watching her? Why? Nobody can seem to explain it, but people forget the one simple principle. People like to dream. They like to live vicariously. So for whatever reason, these women weren't making people dream through them. Michael Jordan made us dream through him. Cailin makes these little girls and boys dream through her because she's shooting these logos and the way she's playing.
Yeah.
So that's what she has such a gravity, and that's what's creating her following. But for whatever reason, that never happened before. As great as these girls are, it's not that they're not great players. Kareem was a great player. Larry and Mike Magic was great players. Doc was great players. But when Mike came, you started dreaming. And Witchcom took advantage of that. Woman, that commercial. Sometimes I dream that he is me. I want to be like. That's the thing. You got to captivate people's imagination. This girl has, for whatever reason. So I don't think they've been directly suppressing the WNBA. I just think the WNBA hadn't had their moment yet. And now that it's here, a lot of people in the WNBA is uncomfortable with it.
Yeah. So I just think that, all right, so like you said with Michael Jordan, and when he came along, he captivated people, right? Yeah. And the league recognized that right away.
No, the commercial people, the league did too, but the commercials.
Yeah.
But the WNBA, in my opinion, is in the same, like, all right, and we just watched the NFL draft. We didn't know it, like most of those guys in the NFL draft, we didn't know. But the young ladies who got drafted in this past college draft, we knew them, right?
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. So why not, if you're the WNBA, why not just lean into that momentum that you have? The guy, we follow that basketball. We follow those women from college. We know about Paige. We know about Cailin. We know about Angel Reese. We know them because we first seen them in college. But to me, it just seems like the WNBA is not leaning into that momentum they have from these young ladies coming from that.
But I think they are. I think they're leaning into all these young ladies. The one they're not leaning into is Cailin. Who's leaning into Cailin is Wilson and Gatorade and some of these other sponsors and State Farm. The WNBA is leaning into these young stars. They really are.
Yeah. And that's why I wondered why, if it wasn't more of a cultural thing with the WNBA, which doesn't want to just say, hey, let's lift up this one shooting star that we got. Let's try to take that momentum and spread it out over all the young stars.
Yeah.
That just feels like the NBA and the way they've always done it is different than the way the NBA will just latch onto a shooting star and just and let it ride.
Right. Yeah. And so, and then there's other factors that play into that, in my opinion, too. Like when you had a situation with Dewanna Bonner, right? So, you know, for whatever reason, Dewanna Bonner don't want to be with the, with the Fever. But to me, I just think that plays into the some of the, like, how players are today, as far as like it was more of a team mentality back in the day. Nowadays it's more of a me, like nobody want to be Robin, everybody wants to be Batman. If you getting too much attention, then that that people get jealous and stuff like that, and they don't want to, they're more selfish, it seems like.
I think I kind of view the situation as she decided to go to Indiana for what Indiana could do for her instead of what she could bring to the table for Indiana. And when she got there and realized that Indiana wasn't going to meet her expectations of what Indiana could do for her, she decided, well, this isn't a good fit for me.
I have another take on it.
Okay.
And I saw it after the very first game of the season. When they played Chicago.
Yeah.
And they beat Chicago by damn near 40?
Yeah.
Right? Dewanna got that milestone. She moved into third all time. And when Holly Rowe interviewed her and asked her about the environment, she said, I was shell-shocked. This is my theory. First of all, playing under that big bright light. She's been playing 15 years. Never experienced anything like that. She was in Connecticut last year, small market. That big bright light. She started putting pressure on herself. And I think her low production, and then Lexi Hall took her spot. And now it's like she's having second thoughts. She ain't realized how bright that light really is. And it takes a special person to be able to perform under that magnifying glass like that. She said it in the interview. I was shell-shocked. I had to get used to this. And then I heard her during the before the season started. Oh, these girls play fast. They play fast. She kept making little statements that lets you know she might be a little uncomfortable in that environment.
Yeah. I mean, that probably could play a role in, but you got to think. Don't Dewanna Bonner have a championship already, right? Then she went with Phoenix?
Yes, but she's never been in that kind of atmosphere and light. These girls winning championships in front of 4,000 people.
That's a little bit different.
Yeah.
But I just think that even if you're not used to that environment, I just think that And then the WNBA is like it's cliquish as far as like with some of the
It
women
is
are concerned.
cliquish.
It's cliquish.
It is cliquish.
So
Yeah.
and even earlier this week, I made a video about like how I think that it would be easier for what's the other young lady?
Paige Buckets.
Paige Becker. I think it'll be easier for her to reach to get a championship than it will be for Caitlin Clark because number one, like I said, it's cliquish and she seemed to fit in better with some people. There's not as much jealousy towards her than there is Caitlin Clark.
Yeah, she's coming from the factory, right? Where
right,
all
exactly.
all the insiders come from.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Yeah, yeah. And that's another thing. Yeah, she coming from Connecticut. She has relationships and connections with, you know, with some of the people around the league already. So yeah, you're probably right about that.
Here's the thing though, about her game. I think Caitlin's game is more susceptible for championship because of her gravity. Paige game is more susceptible for her to have a more efficient game. See, Paige got that mid-range. So she's going to be a lot more efficient. But she's not lifting up Dallas. While Cailin has so much gravity, it's opening up everything else for everybody else. And then they can get easy buckets, which is more conducive to team success. If you look at what Cailin did with Indiana last year, she took that team that only won about 13 games or something, and they went to 20 games in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Now, I don't see Paige at this stage lifting the wings up like that. I'm not saying she ain't a great player. She's a great player.
Yeah.
And her game is going to be, she's going to be able to get bucks. She's got a great game for the W.
Yeah.
But I don't know if her game is everybody around me is going to rise.
No,
but
I don't think so. Not right now. But I do think with Paige Becker, like I said, I think because I don't see the WNBA like allowing like all right, whereas though you can build a dynasty and you could put together a great team, but some of that pushback from Caitlin Clark is coming from within the own organization. Like we talking about like how the coach is not really playing to Caitlin's strengths right now, right? So you got a situation where as though some people say, all right, well, allow Cailin to run, whereas though other people saying, well, she has to learn how to play in the half court also. So it's a give and a take with that situation that's Caitlin Clark.
Stephanie White will be gone before Cailin will be.
Yeah,
maybe so.
Lynn Dunn has already came out on record and made a comment about Stephanie White this year.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So
you can't. I mean, the fans would tear that place down.
Yeah, you can't.
Yeah.
Yeah, they putting on those games for them fans. Them fans are attached to that young lady.
Yeah.
So, and I don't even know if the league doesn't want her to succeed. I definitely know that you have. I said this back when the season started. I told you guys, even Stephanie White has some resentment in her voice. You know, when a reporter asked about the crowd, I don't know what took so long. She used to be a player. She resents some of this, like why y'all wasn't paying attention to us. She even got some of that in her, you know, and she's very loyal to the culture too.
That's why I said like some of the pushback, some of the pushback is going to come from within, not just like those other players. Who was that who knocked her down last season? Was it Kennedy Carter knocked her down? And then she told Cailin that, you know, like the other girl not gonna do nothing. That's, you know what I mean? She on your team, but she my friend. You know what I mean? So you know, so it's relationships there. You know that is going to prevent her from doing, you know, certain things.
Well, I will say this: the television networks and all the people that's got money invested in the growth is definitely going to have conversations with the league. Every coach around the league is complaining about consistency in officiating.
Yes.
Trust me, Mike. Right now, it looks the way it looks, but they're going to clean this shit up. I guarantee you that.
Yeah. The eyes that are on the refs and the calls right now, and it is just it's It's confusing. It's inconsistent.
Yeah.
It seems focused on certain players at times.
Yep. Yep.
And
Yep.
it's wild.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
And
So go ahead.
and the players can want her not to shine all they want, but when you talk about people paying your bills, they have more of a say than anything.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I also think that Felipe makes a good point, right? He said the players in the WNBA, the old guard, does not want to give the keys of the kingdom to Caitlin Clark. They prefer to burn everything down if necessary. And see, that's to the mindset I'm speaking of, to that mindset where as though, you know, it's I think with men's sport it's different. We won't go scorched earth like that.
No.
But I'm telling
Women
you,
will.
huh?
Yeah, women will.
Yeah, they will go scorched earth, and that's scary. That's why that scorched earth policy is scary.
That's the cultural difference that I was talking about.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. But always remember, somebody has invested in the growth. Somebody gave them a $200 million TV deal. Trust me, them women can want to burn it down all they want, but somebody's paying their bills.
Yeah. And because it's just so much different. Like I just saw a video of Kelsey Plum. She was going to some event, some function, and a guy asked her for her autograph.
I saw that.
She called him weird. She was like, "That's giving weird."
Yeah.
You know, now I can see if she out with her family or something, and they sitting down at dinner, and this guy approached her. But this guy's a fan, admiring her work in the WNBA, and she called him weird.
It was a team hotel. He was standing outside the team hotel because he saw the bus. Yep.
I don't get it.
But that's what I mean, Mike. Even Brittany Griner's made the comment. We used to complain and nobody put demands on us to perform. And now all of a sudden they putting all these expectations. It's like they don't really want, they want the fame, but they don't. They had no idea what it's going to really feel like. These girls want to stay in their little bubble. And guess what? Because there was no pressure on them to grow the league either, because they're being subsidized. They never had to make a profit. They could just play ball, get their paycheck, live their life. That's it. But I do know it's some players in the league that professional and business minded and want to grow. I know it's some players in the league. I think Sabrina Ionescu is very business minded. Well,
Go ahead. No, go ahead. I think Sabrina is business minded. I like Stewie. I like Nafisa Collier. I think
they understand. Yes. They understand. Even Asia. I'm gonna tell you, even Asia. That game they beat the Fever in Vegas. That first half. Why you think Asia played so bad? Because of that audience.
Yeah.
Becky Hammond had to grab her hands and calm her down. They not used to this, bro. They not used to. They'll get used to it.
Yep.
It's a culture shock, Mike.
Yeah, it could be. I don't know. I just think. All right. So what is it? Mr. Soul Auctioneer said she signed it. She did sign the autograph though. But I'm like, she signed it. But I just think it's.
But
her receive your fans though.
Her reaction to being asked for it was kind of the tell, right? It's
and
he said low key. Don't you think it's kind of weird though? Low key. Don't you think it's kind of weird though? I'm really turned off right now.
Like why? I couldn't get like why it was weird though. For him at the function.
That's what fans do.
Yeah, that's exactly what fans do.
Fan. The beginning of the word fanatic.
Yes. And listen, situations like this, if the camera wasn't on it and stuff, I'm not saying Kelsey, I'm not accusing Kelsey Plum of this. But in the past, these women would have been saying people are stalking them. And making that an issue. I'm serious.
All right, so you saying that. All right, so for women, that could be an issue, like potential stalkers, right?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, but I mean, but don't that come with with fame and fortune, like in anything? You're a movie star or a professional athlete.
Yeah, but you need to report stalking because now you're in danger.
Yeah. But I mean, that yeah. So let me see. Mr. Soul Auctioneer don't think that she was being mean. I don't know.
I don't think she was being mean either. I just think she
Yeah.
was being honest about how she felt, and I think that exposes where a lot of the mindset of these professional athletes is. And to your point, or to the point, this is a whole new era now for the WNBA.
Yeah.
And they might not be ready for it. Some of them might not be ready for it.
Yeah. I don't know. And so, but do you think? Let me ask y'all this: do you think that the WNBA should lean more so into like, let's say, like the ring culture? Like you don't hear women in the WNBA talk about chasing rings. Like for Magic wanted to have more rings than Bird. Bird wanted to, they wanted to have more rings than each other. Then Mike wanted to have more than them. Kobe tried to get, but you don't really hear that in the WNBA.
Actually, you kind of do. The Aces before last season started, they were talking about winning their third one in a row. New York Liberty was talking about getting a championship. I mean, certain players like they talk about what Houston did, those rings. I mean, you do kind of hear it, Mike.
Yeah.
You do.
The league don't lean into that though. You know what I mean? Because all right, so Cynthia Cooper got the first 4 rings, right? And since Cynthia Cooper, you had like you had a team here win, and then the Aces, they won there too. But for the most part, and I think what I'm trying to say is like when you chasing those rings like that, you get to work towards like dynasties and stuff like that. You build your fan base, and then you build more excitement around a certain team. Then you that team right there has a target on their back, and then everybody else has to raise their level of play in order to go after that team. But the WNBA don't lean into that. You may have individual players and teams who say, yeah, we want to continue to win and win and win, but the league really don't promote that. It don't seem like.
I don't know. I feel like they do to me, but I understand your point. I feel like they do.
The feeling that the league leans into that.
Yeah, well, the media partner is ESPN, right?
Yeah,
they cover them. They always talking about championship rings and things. I mean, I just feel like they do. Even when they rank in the all-time greats, they even go back to the rings. That's what they was doing. When they was talking about Breonna Stewart being the best, she got all them rings and to me, they talk about it the same to me. I don't know,
Yeah. Kent Carlson, welcome back. Thanks for the super chat. Kent said, and it all started with Caitlin Clark last year. As far as like, I just think that I really don't get the feeling that the league is really leaning into and taking advantage of this opportunity. I think like with her fan base, I think like with the fan base that Caitlin Clark brings to the league, I think they want that, you know what I mean? They want to benefit from that. But as far as like freedom of movement, somebody brought up like freedom of movement last week, right? And I think that freedom of movement will help the WNBA. Especially when it comes to these hard fouls, and not just the hard fouls, but like the dangerous fouls, pulling the hair, poking the eyes and stuff. That's a little WWF type to me, though.
Yeah, the dangerous fouls that only get a technical and not a flagrant.
Yeah.
I mean,
but I just think this is just the second year. This explode. We right in the middle of the explosion.
Yeah.
So these things, you're going through it right now. I do think they're going to turn the corner.
Yeah.
At some point. Yeah. You just you in it right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like anything, like in life, right? Think about winter and spring, right? When winter's ready to go out, when spring is ready to come in, winter hold on like a motherfucker, right? We'll get some spring days and then winter come back because it's fighting hard not to leave. That's the old guard, the old way of doing things. WNBA is going to fight and going to push against it.
Yeah.
But eventually it's going to break through. It has to.
Yeah.
Too many people invested in it.
Too many people, like what you mean, sponsors?
Everything. Yeah. Too many people invested in it, man. If they're not trying to lean into Cailin, man, it's crazy. Every game the FIBA going to, they moving them to these big arenas.
Yep.
They definitely leaning into it. They just trying to suppress her. And the old guard is trying to suppress her because the referees and stuff is still reffing the same way and they're allowing it.
Yeah.
So they trying to do everything in their power not to let this girl shine. But even that, eventually, the refs gonna get those memos, man.
Now, why specifically Caitlin Clark though? Why like not really leaning to her? I mean, because it's obvious. Like, why wouldn't the refs in the league like not specifically leaning to her?
Well, I'm just saying right now. I'm not saying the league's not leaning into it. I'm just saying right now, the way the game's being reffed and everything, you got to remember the league don't have that money yet, really, to upscale, to upgrade everything. The refs and they don't really have the money yet. You still dealing with the same old refs and stuff, and they used to the way the game has been played. It's a new day. They don't have the money yet.
So they basically have not caught up to what's going on in the league then.
Well, that's coming in fast before the money's coming. You see what I'm saying? It's like, they used to, you got to remember, if you've been a 10-year ref, a 10-year referee, you accustomed to calling the game a certain way. The WNBA didn't have the athleticism. It was physical play. It was this, that, and the other. Refs are used to that game. You're going to have to upgrade your referees at some point, but you can't until you really got the money and the cachet to do so.
Yeah. So, what Trusty Sidekick says, Reggie Miller never liked Jordan, but we don't talk about that. But I think that there's a certain amount, I don't know, like personally, like how they felt. There's a certain amount of respect though for each other. And even when they was playing, I thought that there was a certain amount of respect. They ain't like each other. And to a certain point, I think that's good for it was good for the league. I thought it's better than at halftime or after the game, everybody swapping jerseys. I think is, that's what I think is better than that jersey swapping that you see. Who swapped jerseys? What was the guy named Zion swapping jersey with what's the guy from Memphis? Ja Morant. Yeah, they swapping jerseys like both of them guys had Hall of Fame careers. I was like, man, I don't know. I just liked it when those guys was just, why are you playing like you're a rivalry?
Yeah.
But at the same, you're competing hard, but at the same time, you're not really trying to hurt each other. You know what I mean? So I think it's like a balance there, and you can dislike each other all you want, but not at halftime, everybody swapping jerseys and sharing sandwiches and shit. I don't think that's cool for the game, man. I just think that the WNBA, I just don't think they maximizing their effort when it comes to leaning into this situation. I just see them dropping the ball. I really,
you got to give it time, Mike. You got to give it time, bro. That's what I believe. You got to give it time.
Rome wasn't built in a day.
Yeah, well, they on the clock, and the reason why I say the WNBA is on the clock is because you got some young up and coming guys in the NBA who are like the thing. I think things going to turn around in the NBA. That mid-range game is for the NBA is going to cause more excitement because it's more of a strategy to the game. It's not just a 3-pointer or a dunk. Now you're seeing guys just utilizing that whole court. starting to utilize that whole court, and that's going to bring back some fans and excitement, I think.
I hope so. I hope so.
Yeah. Now,
I think it's going to bring back good basketball, but I don't think it's going to bring fans.
You don't think it's going to bring back the fans?
No. But it's going to be great basketball. Don't get me wrong, and it's going to be more team oriented. But I don't think it's going to bring back fans. No.
Well, I gotta admit, I do think that small market has something to do with them not getting the viewership that they wanted, like this past, in this finals when you had Indiana, OKC. I think those two markets didn't really draw the attention that they was hoping that it drew.
Yeah, but I think that's a double-edged sword because you've got how many years of the same Texas, California teams making it into the Western finals, and you see the same the same names over and over, whether it's Dallas, San Antonio, Golden State, whoever. You get tired of it.
Yeah,
and that causes the fall off too.
Yeah. So all right.
I don't know what the answer is, but I mean,
I think, in my opinion, I think the answer is leaning into dynasties. You know what I mean? I thought that, like, somebody posted this a while ago. They posted, what's the guy named David Stearns was in charge of the NBA for 30 years, had 8 champions. As opposed to this guy has 9 champions. What's his name? Sterling has 9 champions. I just think that dynasties, in my opinion, are better for the league.
Not in this day and age, Mike. I don't think so. I respect your opinion, but you living in a time now where people have very short attention spans, and they get bored fast, and they always looking for the next big thing. I think what David Stern had, he had some dynamic talent that drove the fan interest up. And when you talk about Jordan, Jordan didn't drive fan interest up because he came in winning back-to-back titles. He brought it in his first year, halfway through the season. Now everybody's watching him. Magic and Bird, they had their rivalry, right? But it really wasn't about the dynasties as much as it was that polarization going on, the black guy and the white guy. The black guy flashy on the West Coast, the white guy blue collar, blue collar, hard work. That whole dynamic. Dr. J even rose viewership. He didn't. It wasn't about dynasties. It was about the way he played the game.
Yeah.
So I mean, I just think that they have stars, they have kids with charisma, and I think more and more, like the Ant-Mans of the world, and Tyrese's and the Shays and all. The more their personalities show, the more flair they add, the more capturing people's imagination and stuff like that. The viewership is going to come back, but I don't think it's about dynasties at this point.
Yeah.
Let me before I rebut that. Kent Carlson, appreciate the super chat. He said, you gentlemen spot on the old guard, and not all, but some of the players have nothing but pure hatred and contempt for Caitlin Clark. She is just that good, right? And I do think, and the reason why I think some of those players might have a little hate and resentment is because they just used to doing things a certain way, or getting a certain type of I just think they used to doing things a certain kind of way. And so and that's my whole thing today, is like, why the league is not leaning into. They did it for golf for Tiger Woods. You know what I mean? They did it in basketball with Michael Jordan. If you got a ship that's going to cause, you know what I mean, like going to cause all ships to rise, then you got to lean into that. And that's why I just think that, like, when it comes to the WNBA, I just think it's a glass ceiling on like what they want from the WNBA. And that's my
The way they leaned. I'm sorry, Jim. You was gonna say something?
No, I was just thinking about that old saying, don't hate the player, hate the game.
Yeah.
Well, the way they leaned in it with Tiger was they put Tiger on television. The way they leaned in it with Jordan was they started televising Jordan's games.
Yeah.
Right.
The way they leaning in it with Cailin is they televising the Indiana Fever's games.
Yeah.
That's how you do it. That's how you do it, Mike.
Yeah.
That's it.
I'm not saying that they not televising, you know what I mean? Yeah, they televising her and everything. And all right, so let me get back to my point about like dynasties.
Okay.
What dynasties do and how dynasties can be good for the league. Number one, a dynasty will raise the level of play, like what the status quo is now. What you need to be successful in this league now is that dynasty. That is like the standard of winning, right? So when you had the New England Patriots, in order to beat the New England Patriots, you had to meet that standard, right? So you couldn't have step. That number one, that puts a target on the New England Patriots back because everybody has to raise their level of play, which is good for not only the New England Patriots, but it's good for the teams that's going after them. It's good for their fan base. Now you have, then on top of that, you get to the novice fan, not just the hardcore fans, but you get the novice fans who are watching because they want to see the New England Patriots lose. You know what I mean? So, I mean, like dynasties, I think are better for the league. It gives the league time to build like your fan base. Whereas though if every year you have a different championship, you got a new fan base, and then that old fan base just fade out.
Well, not really. I mean, I'm gonna say this about the NFL. Like, yeah, New England had a dynasty, right? But this is where the NFL really took off. They created parity in their league somehow. Every fan base around the country believes that this year is our year, and any given Sunday we can win. And that keeps every fan base around the NFL energized.
Yeah.
Looking forward to Sunday and looking forward to the games.
Yeah.
To a certain extent.
I think,
all right, so but in basketball has that work. When you look at ratings, when you look at merch, as far as like all that's the attendance in the NBA is down. The dynasties, it was better, in my opinion, as far as the stats concerned, it was better when you had dynasties.
I think
quality of play.
I think to have a dynasty and have it to your point, Mike, to have it catch and be something that engages the entire fan base across the sport, you have to have somebody on that team on that has that special thing, that thing that we can't define.
Yes.
And that special thing does one of two things to the rest of the fan base. It makes them love them, or it makes them hate them. We're talking NFL examples. Tom Brady, you either loved him
or you
hated him.
Right.
Pat Mahomes, you either love him or you hate him.
Right. My point exactly.
I don't. But on. So I think Steph Curry is one of those guys that you see his game, he's like, man, I like that kid. I'm not a Golden State Warrior fan, but I like his game.
Right.
It's fun to watch. And when he wins and the Golden State Warriors win, I would agree with your statement, Mike.
Yeah.
But if it's just if it's just the same old boring uncharismatic team, then it doesn't do anything. It doesn't help, and people actually get turned off. You got to have the hero or the villain. It doesn't matter what, but you got to have it on that team.
Yeah. Let me say this, because that was a good point, Jim. Kent Carlson says that Caitlin Clark is not just U.S., but she's a global phenom, right? And I think that's true. You know, we saw like how she was received by, you know, like teams coming over here to play from different countries and stuff like that. So, you know, definitely, yeah, she a global phenom,
Yeah.
right? A phenom, my fault. And so yeah, that's what I'm saying. With those dynasties, man, I just think it just gives everybody something to shoot for. Let me say what does Felipe say? Go ahead, Clayton.
Well, I think the champion alone. Okay, so next year, OKC is gonna make every team in the NBA have something to shoot for.
Exactly. Yeah, that's true.
I don't think you understand. So every year, whenever the champion get crowned, it makes everybody confident. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true. But I'm saying, all right, that's what I'm saying. Like, but there's it take momentum. You know what I mean? Like when we talk about Yankee fans, we talk about Red Sox fans. These, you know, like these fans are coming from or Celtics fans, Lakers fans, Cowboys fans. You talking about fan bases that come from like rich traditions of winning.
Yeah.
Then you get the arrogance and all that stuff that come with, you know what I mean, with these different fan bases, the expectations and stuff that come from these different fan bases. I think that's why, you know, I think all that's good for the sport.
It is good for the sport. I'm just saying, I don't think that drives viewership as much as the personalities and the stars that was on those teams.
Yes.
You know, the Yankees got a rich tradition of stars. Babe Ruth, Mickey Mantle, you know, even up to Derek Jeter, Reggie Jackson. You had all these Dallas Cowboys, Tony Dorsett, Roger Staubach, you know, Michael Irvin. You know, you had stars. It wasn't just they had winning. They was a dynasty. Like, I just think the dynasty is not driving the viewership as much as the superstars are.
Yeah.
That's all.
Let me see. Felipe said, I read a Yahoo article that said Cailin Clark will create an economic impact of $1 billion for the WNBA in 2025. I can believe that. I can believe that with her. And even with the Pacers making it to the finals, her impact on the city is still larger than Tyrese Halliburton. You know what I mean? So I can definitely believe that.
And it's interesting. Yeah, it's interesting though. Like stuff like that, when reports and stuff come out like that, it makes me wonder how are they coming up with a arbitrary figure like that?
With what? But like how much she gonna generate?
I'm just curious because I'm not into that world, but that's interesting to me.
I just think, you know, sometimes, you know, them what they call them guys, them finance people can predict a whole lot of stuff. So what Mr. Soul Auctioneer says that, are you guys old enough to remember how the NFL press treated AFC teams after they merge?
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
They didn't give
them like second class citizens.
They thought the Jets were gonna lose by 50
to the Colts.
To the Colts.
Right.
Yeah. Tell them we Baltimoreans, so we know that too well.
Yeah.
Johnny, but guess who had the swag?
Joe Namath.
Joe
Broadway
Namath.
Joe.
Yes.
Really,
he had the swag.
Yeah.
He had the swag, and they owe a lot to him. He was must-watch TV.
Joe Namath standing on the sideline with full-length fur coat.
Yes, that's what I'm talking about.
This dude was crazy, man.
And always remember, they're gonna find a way to get these stars on winning situations because they bring the viewership. They're gonna find a way.
Part of that is the market too, though. When we talking about part of that is the market that they playing in. It's not just the stars. Part of that is that market. Like if you don't have the same effect playing in Detroit as you do playing in Dallas.
Barry Sanders did,
and that's what I'm glad you brought him up. Barry Sanders is like the outlier to that type of situation. But just imagine if they were winning if they had a winning tradition in Detroit, as opposed to what the Cowboys had. So what Barry Sanders created in Detroit was just like a flash in the pan.
I got another one. I got another one for you, Mike.
Mm-hmm.
O.J. Simpson. He was playing in Buffalo.
Right, yeah. But
you know,
also again, that Buffalo market is not the same as the Cowboy market.
Exactly. But who was the biggest star than OJ?
Yeah, but look, I'm talking as far as like longevity in the league, though, you can't compare those two markets.
I'm not. That's my point. That's what my point is. You can have the big market and all that, but when a star come through, when something like that comes through, there's no denying it. You can't. It's just what it is.
We had Adrian Peterson up in Minnesota doing that, and
I just think those, and I just think that those large market teams is just where
Check this out, Mike. We got the perfect example. The girl we always talking about. She played in Iowa.
Yeah.
How the fuck do you get global from Iowa? It's because that. It's because
there.
that.
Yes.
Yes.
Yep. You can't quantify it. You can't put your finger on it, but you see it.
You can't put your finger. Yes.
Yeah. Let me see what my man Kent Carlson said. Okay, and these are facts, gentlemen. Caitlin Clark generated as to the revenue 20% total market share of the WNBA.
Yes.
Let me see.
I saw that report. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. That's huge. But
let me see. Cowboys were created just to steal the Texans fans. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah, man. So
now, see, the Cowboys in their last dynasty run was created because Minnesota made some stupid deal to get Herschel Walker and loaded up the Cowboys with the big three. So
man, that was the greatest transaction in Cowboy history and NFL history, man.
It doomed Minnesota for years.
Yeah.
Doomed Minnesota for years.
Yeah. So man.
So I want to read this right here. Lucy Goosey says that it seems like the league is struggling to make stars because of how basketball is with the focus on AAU, these developmental programs. The stars used to come and somewhat built up. The stars used to come in somewhat built up, right? And all right, so when you talk about, I think what the problem is with basketball is that college, like we spoke about that draft. Like I only knew Cooper Flag and you know what I mean. We only got a chance to look at like about 2 or 3 of these kids and remember them in the draft. Like most of the kids in the draft we didn't know, right? And so when it came to us being from the East Coast and then Jim, you Midwest, right?
Yeah.
But we knew everybody in the ACC. We knew everybody in the Big East. Then if you had a top program anywhere around the country, you got that television airtime. And so we was able to follow these college kids from freshmen to throughout their whole career. And then when you go to the draft, we watching and we into it.
Yep.
But now it's just not the same. I don't know how they be.
Yeah, I was watching James Worthy on whose podcast was that? But he was he and Mark Jackson were talking about how the game gets developed with players when they stay in school for at least 3 years, because your game gets exposed by all the great coaches at the NCAA level.
Yeah.
And so when
Yeah.
you're a really good player, you got to be able to go out there and learn how to play against a 3-2
Yeah. The
defense,
3-2-3.
three,
Yeah.
three, all the defenses, man to
Yeah. Yeah.
man, just all of the defenses, right?
Yeah.
And so you got to work on your game in such a way that it completes your skill sets. So by the time you're athletic,
Yeah.
you've got all the physical skills, but your game, your tool bag is complete
It's
because
crazy. It's
you
crazy.
are coached in such a way that you see the game and your IQ, your game IQ is so much higher. So what happens now? Well, we don't see these kids go for 3 or 4 years. We see them for a year, maybe 2 years. But by the time they get there, they still have a lot of work to do, and they get and your average player gets shipped off to the G League.
Mhm.
Yeah. Kenny Smith said that about Michael Jordan. That's what made Michael Jordan, you know what I mean? Like going to North Carolina, like you said, you see the boxing one, you see the 3-2-3 defense, you see the you see the 1-3-1 defense, you see everything. Then you got to go up against Mike Krzyzewski. Then you got Nolan Richardson. Then you got John Thompson. Man, then you got Riley Massimino, all those guys, you know what I mean? You see all those different players, all that. By the time you get to the league, you seasoned.
Man,
And
if
we saw that.
One game you're playing against the Arkansas, what is that? 40 minutes?
40 minutes
4
of
minutes
hell.
of hell.
40 minutes of hell.
And then the next game, you got to just turn on a dime and get out there and play a totally different half court offense.
That's crazy.
And remember, college, you was locked up.
Yeah.
Once you come into the NBA, ain't no zones and shit back then. It's wide open. So now your individual talent can really shine. Because now you feel like somebody took the shackles off.
And that was that's what that's what James Worthy was saying.
Yeah. I hate to tell you guys this though. I mean, unfortunately, that's not coming back.
No.
It's not, unfortunately, because you have an audience now that's not interested in that. They just not, you know.
Kenny Smith had a great analysis on that. It was because back then, like when Jordan was playing, you had to play with your back to the bucket because the hand check. And now it's a completely different game.
Yeah, he's face up going downhill.
Yeah.
You know, and so Lucy Goosey said that they trying to sell the players the same way as the past, but the system is much different now, and that's true.
Yes,
I agree with that.
I agree with that.
Yeah, that's definitely true. They trying to sell them the same way.
These kids living in a time of highlight reels.
Yeah,
they are not patient. They do not want to sit through a whole game just to see that highlight. They can go to social media and get it. It's a different audience. They're just not interested in it.
Yeah. I mean,
and people like us that like good basketball, we dinosaurs now.
Yeah. You don't even hear the term two-way player anymore. And back then, everyone was a two-way player.
Exactly. Yeah, you couldn't get on the court.
Yeah, you could not get on the court unless you could play both ends. There were a few exceptions, but that was the rule. Now it's flipped. Everyone is a specialist.
Yeah. So Mr. Soul Auctioneer says that what I don't understand about people saying that Clark wasn't known until LSU beat Iowa, but she had numerous interviews on game day shows, national exposure, but nobody knew her. That was
Joy Taylor talking. Joy Taylor was talking that nonsense.
And see, Joy Taylor really don't have no credibility though. And let's even get into like national media and Stephen A. Smith and all those guys, right?
Yeah.
Those people, like the national media, like they try to pump a certain narrative And then when the people who know basketball, people who watch basketball, you see something different, and that kind of like cuts into their credibility because that's not what we seeing, and then you call yourself an expert and you saying you saying stuff we don't see that.
Right.
I agree, she earned her flowers, and it's not a media creation, and that's not something that like
Mm-mm.
I don't know who, like I don't see her as being a media creation because if you
Not at
like
all.
basketball, basketball. I don't know how you can say that, but
Mm.
Joy Taylor did try to say that on what show was she on? Joe Buttons or something?
Joe Buttons or something. Yeah. Was it
Yeah,
Joe
she did try
Buttons?
to.
Yeah. Yeah.
If it wasn't for Angel Reese, that
Mm-mm.
nobody wouldn't know, but
Yeah. That was. Yeah. See, and that's the thing. It's some kind of agenda going on, man.
Yeah.
With stuff like that.
But
Mhm.
if you look at it, like people are criticizing the way ESPN handled the draft. Like they said,
Yes.
their ratings were down, and they gave
horribly.
a lackluster, poor performance.
Yep.
And you got Stephen A. Smith playing solitaire. It's like he not putting in the work when it comes to studying the game. He just
Not at
mailing
all.
it in.
He's a one-trick pony.
Yep.
He really is.
You right
Yep.
about that. You right about that. This guy's just mailing it in, and
Yep.
people starting to see through that. Like he's
Yeah.
he's supposed to be a basketball aficionado, and he's not offering us no insight.
No insight, no breakdown, no evaluation.
Nothing.
Like you said, Mike, you didn't even know half these kids in the draft. Neither
Right.
did I don't watch. But like with the NFL draft, they have somebody on there giving you analyzing the talent, telling you what they are, who they are, their capabilities.
What's
You
the guy
get
named Todd McShay?
who?
Is a guy named Todd McShay who come on during the NFL draft?
Yeah.
And he
He
just
might
go down
be,
and
yeah.
listen. He tell you something
He
about, and they
breaking
got
it
a
down.
breakdown.
Yeah. And when it comes to the NBA, that's just it's obsolete.
Yeah.
It's nothing.
Right.
Nobody's. Why didn't they have Jay Billis
Mm-hmm.
on ESPN
Mm-hmm.
during the NBA draft? Please tell me that.
Yeah.
Why?
I mean, it makes sense, but
Isn't that his name, Jay Billis?
yeah, Jay Billis, yeah. Well, Jay
Yeah.
Billis used to do that though.
That's what I'm saying. This
Yeah.
is the guy you need to have on draft night. He knows
Stephen A.
all these college players inside and out. Clark Kellogg, right?
Yeah.
These
Right,
guys that cover college game day.
yeah.
Where they at during the draft?
Yeah, you're right. I didn't even think about that, but yeah, when you because with football, you talking about hundreds of players, and this guy McShay just break down. He'll tell you something about everybody game. And that's
Yes.
special. That's what he know. But
Yeah.
you don't get that from Stephen A. Smith. You don't get that from nobody on that ESPN crew, really, man.
Yeah.
And you could tell that they just mailing it in.
Yeah.
But
Yep. Stephen A has become a hot take machine. That's all he is.
yeah,
It's all about hot takes, controversy, hot takes, and a whole bunch of yelling and going into character. He's a character.
yeah.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
speaking of the draft, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let me ask y'all this. First, before we talk about Cooper Flag, what do y'all think about the kid that's holding out? He don't want to go to Utah. I got his name. Ace Bailey.
Oh, yeah.
Utah
Yeah.
drafted him. He don't want to go there.
That was I don't know what's up with Bailey because he didn't even want to work out with anybody.
Right.
So he wasn't even doing a pro day kind of workout for anyone. And when he got who did he get drafted by?
Utah.
No. He got drafted by. He got traded.
He got traded. He got drafted by another team. Then Utah got him. I forgot, Jim.
Let me find him.
I forgot. Let me see.
He got. No, he did get drafted by the Jazz.
Oh, he did. Okay. Well,
Yeah.
somebody got drafted and traded, but
I was thinking of somebody else. But yeah, that was the conversation that they were talking about. He didn't work out for anybody,
Right.
and the speculation was that he knew where he was going to land, and so they were thinking, well, Utah must have he must already had something lined up with Utah. But for him to say that he doesn't want to go to Utah, I don't know what that kid's doing, because he's shooting himself in the foot.
Yeah, I thought it was risky back when Steve Francis did it. You know, and especially if you somebody who trying to you trying to get your foot in the door. I just think that's a risky move. You know,
It sends too many bad signals to the GMs.
Yeah, and you don't want to come into the league with
now, how high was he drafted? Was he?
He fell.
What he was ahead of.
Yeah, he went to the
he went fifth.
Fifth, yeah. He was
the fifth round draft pick?
No. First round, he was the fifth overall.
That's what I mean. That's what I mean. Fifth overall pick?
Yeah.
It ain't that risky. It's not that risky then.
You don't think so?
Obviously, he's a talent. No, obviously he's a talent.
Right.
Sometimes when you're a talent, you know.
But that was the narrative. He knew he had so much talent that he didn't want to work out with anybody.
Yeah.
And the speculation was, well, the Jazz took him, so they must have had some behind the scenes conversations.
Yeah.
But now if he's saying I don't want to go to the Jazz, that's very confusing.
Now, I'm not making excuses for the kid, but it's so much tape, it's so much film, there's so much stuff out there on these kids. They know who's who. Now, I'm not making excuses for them, though. It's a bad look regardless, but they know who they are. They know who these kids are. And he's a talent. Somebody gonna take a chance on him.
Yeah.
I just think that it's a gamble, especially because then I hear some people saying that, like, I don't even think, like, who was it? Paul George said, at least wait till you get your feet in the door before you start making those kind of, moves and decisions and stuff like that.
Hey, they did it in the NFL, right? Didn't players do that in the NFL? Eventually, eventually it was bound to happen in the NBA.
Who? John Elway did it. Peyton Manning brother. What's
Eli, Drew Brees. No, Drew Brees got traded for him. But I'm just saying, eventually it's bound to happen, man. Especially in these times we living in.
Yeah.
These kids, they feel emboldened, they feel empowered.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. I'm not saying it's a good decision or a bad decision. I'm just thinking that it's risky.
Okay.
I don't know.
I don't know that it's risky for Utah though, because they got room in the cap and they take a flyer on him. If it works, it works.
Yeah. My man said he don't want to go there.
Let me ask y'all this. Cailin Clark recently has been like in a slump before she got hurt, right? Do y'all think that like the pressure and stuff is starting to wear on Cailin Clark?
I thought that at first, right? But I was getting ready to send you guys a picture in the group text. She's still hurt. Yeah. She was hurt. She was hurt against the Sun when she dropped the 20. Yeah. A picture came out. Her upper thigh and quad is taped up. So I think she's been playing hurt in these last three games. She came against New York. She had a great game against New York. Right. But I think she re-aggravated in because against Connecticut, it was taped up.
And they played flat against Connecticut.
Yeah.
I mean, if she was playing to the level, if they were playing to the level when they beat the Liberty, they wouldn't have lost to Connecticut.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So at first I thought, maybe mentally, and not from the girls. I thought it was the constantly hearing Stephanie White in her head. Because she had a open three against the Aces at the top, nobody there, and she hesitated, and then she never hesitates. She was unsure, and then she dumped it in. I said, that coach in that girl's head. But it might be her physical, how her physical body is performing and failing her right now. She's unsure of herself. I think it's physical. I really do, Mike.
Oh, so you think it's physical?
Yeah, because she's still hurt. She's been hurt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you see how she fell in that late in the game against the Storm? Seattle? No, she didn't get tripped up or nothing. She just fell. She came up holding it. It's a picture. I'm gonna send you guys the picture in the group text later. She, against the sun, her quad, her shorts kind of raised up. You can see our quad is taped up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they should shut her down. To be honest with you, I would shut that girl down.
Get to the All-Star game.
Yeah.
I would shut her down for all that. I would shut her down.
Yeah.
You got to let her heal. You got to, to me, this season need to be a wash. You got to do it with what you got and sit her down and let her really get healed and rest. Because I'm going to tell you another thing. She started doing weight training and all this stuff during the off season. Sometimes that stuff can injure you. You don't know, you know what I'm saying? Your body don't adjust to that. At first I did though, Mike. At first I thought it was feeling like she's being abandoned and betrayed by a team, a coach, trying to put shackles on her and all this kind of stuff. But I think it's more physical than anything. Yep. Yeah. Did y'all freeze up on me?
Nope. Oh. We're marinating in your wisdom.
No, whatever. I got it. Mike froze up.
Okay. We lost Mike.
That's
okay. He'll be back.
Yeah, he'll be back. But
yeah.
That's what I think it is, man. For real. You know, she hesitated. I never seen her hesitate like that. She had a wide open three. And she went to shoot it and stopped and hesitated. And then she tried to dump it in to Boston and wound up being a turnover.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just think she needs to get shut down for the year. You know, call it and make it up, you know, let it be a wrap. I mean, you know, they got good squad. They beat last night. I mean, you know, you need to save her long term.
Yeah. It's an investment. And you gotta protect your star. For sure.
Gotta protect her.
Hey, we haven't even talked since last Sunday night. What was your impressions of that game 7?
Oh, the game 7?
Yeah.
Jim, I was asleep until like the fourth quarter. No, late in the third, I woke up and then I saw the rest of it.
Yeah.
But remember we was you wasn't on here last week. And I made a statement. They were saying Halliburton had a calf. I said it's Achilles. They said it's a calf.
No,
it didn't surprise me that he blew that thing.
Yeah,
it didn't surprise me, but
I was super sad to see that happen.
Yeah,
I felt heartbroken. I felt heartbroken for that kid.
Yeah,
and the team rallied behind him and gave it a good shot, but by the down the stretch, they couldn't do it.
Yeah,
couldn't do it without him.
Yeah, not without Halliburton, but you know, Indiana had a great season, man.
It was a great series too.
Yeah,
I love the
series.
series.
7 games. Yeah. I didn't expect another blowout, but it made sense when Halliburton blew his Achilles. But I thought it would come down to the wire, you know. So
and financially, OKC's in a great spot. They're they're towards the bottom in terms of cap space. They got a lot of cap room, right? So I think I'm gonna be curious to see what happens this next season with OKC keeping that core together. I'm trying to remember who their top draft pick was, but I mean if they keep that core together, they're going to be in great shape. But I think Houston made some good
moves. My God, getting KD.
Yeah, that's tough. That the West, the West is going to be a dogfight again. I
Mhm.
mean, it's going to be bare knuckles, and the West. I can't wait. I'm already looking forward to the West next year.
I started thinking about what Magic said. He was like, I could see KD coming to New York, and it made sense to me now. He didn't want him in the West because of the Lakers.
Yeah.
And there he is, right there. You see how Houston's odds jump the minute they
Yeah.
announced that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
As they should. As they
Yeah.
should. Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. Did they have the best? No, OKC had the best record in the whole league.
Yeah.
So Houston had the second best record, right, in the West?
That sounds right. Yeah, they were the number 2, right? Weren't they?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, it's going to be interesting, man. I'm just still waiting to see all the moves that's going to be made because I just got a feeling things are just getting started. So see who lands where. Now this Giannis conversation is coming back up. You know, I thought he was situated and was going to stay in Milwaukee. Now that conversation's back in the mix. And,
Circling right back around.
yeah. So it's going to be interesting.
Well, and I mean, we were talking to it before we went live, but a lot of the moves are also the one of the big factors of how the teams are able to maneuver. It comes down to those to the cap, right?
Yeah.
So you've got the cap, and at some point you got a few exceptions that you can if you're over the cap, you still got a few exceptions that you can apply to resigning people and that kind of stuff, and you got your Bird exception as well. But then at some point you have to pay the luxury tax, and I think a lot of teams are okay with paying the luxury tax. But once you get into that first apron and that second apron, where you start to get handcuffed on what you can do with trades and free agent signings, man, there's some teams that are just totally locked in and they got no maneuverability. And I'm thinking so the teams that are on that first apron, the Nuggets and the Knicks, they've got some restrictions on them, but then you go up to that really restrictive tier, that top tier, and that's the Suns, the Cavaliers, and the Celtics, and yeah, those restrictions are just the things you can do. You can only re-sign free agents. You can only sign your draft picks. If you sign someone who's not a free agent or a draft pick, you can only sign them to a minimum contract. And then the other thing is, if you make a trade, the amount of money that you're trading away, what you get back, has to be less than what you're trading in.
Wow, that's crazy.
So, I mean, those teams are just absolutely hamstrung on what they can do. And so, yeah, that's how teams can maneuver is really there's
That's interesting.
that first apron with the Nuggets and the Knicks, and then the second apron with Boston, Phoenix, and Cleveland, and then everybody else has room to move around. Yeah.
What do you think about Dallas now with Flag in that lineup? Because they always had a big front court.
Yeah. I think I don't expect them to make a run in the West this year.
What? Where's Kyrie at? When did he tear? Did he tear his Achilles?
He'll be back.
Or was it ACL?
It was Achilles.
Okay.
Yeah, it was Achilles.
I saw him walk on the court last night with Paige. So, yeah. But I mean, come on, man.
They're gonna be good, but
come on, man. AD.
That West is just it's a dogfight, man.
But bro, they just was there the year before last in the West with the dogfight with Luka. Now you got AD and you brought in Cooper. Huh?
I think it's gonna take I think it could take 1 year.
1 year.
Before they make. I'm not saying they're not going to make the they're not going to make the playoffs, because I think they'll make the playoffs, play in, or even in top 6. But I don't see Dallas making the conference finals this next season.
They stay healthy, Jim. If they stay healthy, bro.
I like both of those teams. I like Dallas and I like the Rockets, man. And I'm not even really a big KD, but I just think that team, man, just got so much better when they with KD.
Well, I'm predicting another 1-2, OKC and Rockets.
Yeah. But Jim, look at this. Look at how Houston did without the dude Jalen Green really showing up this year. You know what I mean? So, and then you're going to add Kevin Durant to that. So, you're adding Kevin Durant to that mix, and the kid Jalen Green really didn't show up.
Yeah.
So I think they're going to miss that other dude though. What's the dude that they got rid of?
Who went to the Magic, Orlando?
Yeah, what's that kid name?
No, he was in Memphis. I'm talking about.
Oh no, not Bane. I ain't talking about Bane. I'm talking about the other dude with Houston. I forgot, but anyway, I think Kevin Durant, man, to that team with those, you got Shane Goon, then you got Amen Thomas.
Yeah,
those guys right there, man. Those young horses with Kevin Durant with them.
I'm telling you, man, the Rockets.
Yeah,
the Rockets are going to shoot right up to the top, and it's going to be OKC and the Rockets again, 1 and 2, at the end of the regular season. I'm not sure Dallas is gonna, and my beloved Timberwolves are gonna be able to break through to get to the conference finals.
They just need a point guard, man. They need a point guard, and then maybe another big.
Yeah.
They need a point guard, man. They don't have to be the best point guard. They just need one.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah.
Yeah. But I like Dallas. They stay healthy. I like Dallas. I'm telling you.
I like.
Y'all know I was big on Cooper Flag anyway.
I'm looking forward to seeing what Cooper Flag can do at this level right here.
Man, he can play.
Yeah,
he can flat out play.
Yeah, I'm looking forward.
3-level score, plays good D, handle the ball. See how much pressure that's going to take off Kyrie, man?
Tons. Yeah.
Yeah.
You giving Kyrie room to work? Come on, man.
Felipe, man, nice talking to you. We appreciate you participating in the live stream, man.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks for adding your insight and your opinions to the live screen. Clayton, man, I want to thank you and Jim, man, for holding it down, man. I had some type of technical difficulties over here.
All good.
The power went down, but I still was listening to y'all.
Somebody unplugged your house.
It seemed like it, man. It might have been.
That was Corey Holcomb. He unplugged your house.
I was like, oh man,
crazy.
What happened?
No, that's all good. Yeah.
Let me see what Lucy Goosey says. I was excited to see Juju. Her injury was so whack. I hope she heals up and gets back to it.
Yes,
he will.
It's just the way we follow women's basketball now at the college level remind me of the way, like I said, we used to follow the men.
Yeah,
and I just think that I hope that the WNBA need to lean into that when it comes to promoting them at that next level.
I want to say this to Lucy Goosey. I hope Juju get away from that damn coach she got. That woman ran that girl into the ground, and I will stand on that.
Yeah.
Well,
she ran her into the ground, Mike.
I don't disagree with you though. I don't disagree.
Yeah. No, I'm just saying.
I was like, she ain't getting enough help, and this kid feel like she got to do everything. So I definitely don't.
I mean, 2 games I watched. They up by 50.
Yeah.
And she's still out on the floor.
Still out there.
Yeah. Come on, man.
Yeah. Well, Mr. Soul Auctioneer said, I hope Juju finishes the NCAA strong as she started it. I hope she do too.
Yeah, she was.
Paige Becker got hurt, early in her career and finished up strong.
ACL.
So hopefully it'll be the same way with Juju. And like you said, Clayton, with this coach just running her like that, I hope they recruit some kids into that, you know what I mean, that's going to be able to help her alleviate some of that burden that she's taking on.
That's the thing with this transfer portal. That's the thing with this transfer portal too.
Yeah.
It's hard to maintain, but
Yeah.
And I hope Juju, I hope she don't take the extra year because I think she might be eligible for one.
Yeah.
I hope she come back strong because she can get into the league to keep that momentum that the WNBA growth is having, to keep that momentum. If she got to take extra years, so be it. But
as fans, we'd love to see her come.
Yeah.
Well, do y'all think like that NIL money will affect her decision as far as like whether she take that extra year? Because she making a lot of money from the NIL, and she got sponsors.
Well, the sponsors will come with her.
Yeah, they come with her. Yeah.
So I think if these players in the NCAA, if they're able to establish those sponsors, then the NIL is less of a anchor to their school, right? Cailin established the State Farm long before she graduated, and she's rode that to this day, right? So Juju's got Nike.
Juju got State Farm as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's great. State Farm's doing it right.
Yeah.
So
they definitely capitalizing on these girls' fame, no doubt.
Yeah.
State Farm doing it,
And so it's a cycle that self-propels, right?
Right, no doubt. Yeah. Let me see. Lucy Goosey said they gave her that Coach Tibbs treatment. She referring to Juju at USC. Yeah.
Yes.
The Thibodeau treatment.
So some coaches are like that though. Some coaches, that's all they know is to, you know what I mean? Like, is to run their players into the ground. That's all they know. That's why New York wasn't able to really go any further because he couldn't adjust. He couldn't make any any changes when it came to his coaching style.
Yep.
Let me see. Mr. Soul Auctioneer says, and I hope that Iowa can recruit well enough for Hannah to shine.
Hannah's such a sweetheart. She is such a sweetheart. I mean, but she's a good role player, but I don't know. I can't see her going to the next level.
You don't think Hannah?
Stokely?
I like Stokely.
I love her. She's a sweetheart. I love her, but I'm not so sure. Yeah, I'm not so sure.
Yeah.
I'm not so sure.
Let me see. Let me see. Hey, can I join the panel and explain why Michael Jordan fans are the worst sports fans of all time? He says, don't worry, I'm coming to make this really interesting. Let me see. You might get a lot of clicks.
Hey, man, it's good. If we do that, it'd be good that we're remote and not in the same room because, man, that conversation could get physical.
Oh, it's going to get physical. Oh, man.
As a huge Jordan fan, we're going to have words.
Oh, man. Yeah. Man,
that's crazy.
Hey, but straight up, I respect everybody's opinion, man. I look forward to a great debate, no doubt, man.
Yeah.
But
I mean that'd be a great conversation.
I feel like any argument that anybody can put up against Michael Jordan, I'd have heard it all. I think I can.
You heard it all.
Yeah, I can. You know what I mean? Yeah, that was a good one, though.
Oh man, yeah, man.
Hey, real quick. So I heard this question the other day, and I'd like to get your guys' opinion on it. Best number one draft pick coming out of Duke, Kyrie or Cooper?
Right now, Cooper.
Yeah.
You think he's going to be better than Kyrie is?
Overall,
Will he be able to surpass where Kyrie has come to?
I think. Well, see,
and where Kyrie's going?
I don't know if he's going to, skill wise. Nobody in the game, skill wise, can match Kyrie.
Okay.
But I think Cooper, because of his size and everything else, he can wind up being a better player.
Okay.
That's what I see. I just like those two guards, those, you know what I mean? Like Cooper, what how tall is Cooper? Like, at least 6'8"?
I think 6'9" or something like that.
Yeah,
6'9".
Yeah.
I just think like he's just gonna have an easier time scoring in the NBA. He'll be more efficient, you know what I mean? Then I think Kyrie got to work so hard to, you know what I mean, to get to the basket, then to get his shot off over those guys. I just like, you know what I mean? Yeah.
And Kyrie gives up something on the defense end of the floor. Cooper can play defense too.
Yeah. So I agree 100%. Yeah. So yeah, definitely. Yeah. Let me see. I thought y'all was going to throw what's the other guy, Christian Laettner, in there though.
He wasn't first. He wasn't the first overall.
Yeah.
He wasn't a first overall pick.
Yeah. So
yeah,
man. Yeah, we done heard it all when it comes to the Jordan.
Yeah. I saw somebody say, I think he was saying that Hannah Stokely is like Aaliyah. And here again, Aaliyah got a lot of body. Aaliyah used that body. She done got stronger. Hannah is, listen, she's a sweetheart. I just don't know, man. I just don't see. She's, it's hard to call that one.
I like Aaliyah, like you said, Aaliyah. When I seen Aaliyah, even when she played against the Aces and she was going up against
that first half,
Asia Wilson,
she was giving Asia all the work she wanted
in that first half. Yes, indeed,
all that work.
Yeah,
she played physical. She not intimidated by nobody.
And
so
she does it quietly.
She
does it quietly, and so when she's able to take away a player like that, you don't necessarily notice unless you're watching.
Yeah.
And listen, going back to the coach, Stephanie White, when Vegas started making a run, she took Aaliyah off the floor. As soon as she did that, I said, that's it right there.
Yep.
She took Aaliyah off the floor.
Yeah.
I could not believe that move.
Yeah. I like Aaliyah.
Yeah, Aaliyah she was putting in work.
Yeah. Well, she was in the lab also over the summer too. You know what I mean? So she was in that lab and it's showing, you know, it's definitely showing with Aaliyah that she was in that lab.
Yeah.
Well, I know they got the commissioner coming up Tuesday. Like I said, I want them to sit Cailin. Seriously, you just gotta let her rest. Call this deal war. But last night, Aaliyah, Kelsey and them, they got their thing off, right? And tossing them, but the Wings don't have no true bigs. This gonna be a game. This gonna tell me a lot going up against the Lynx with Aaliyah Boston. If Cailin has to sit, I want to see what happens.
Well, that's the game. That's the game I'm going to at the end of August. Lynx Fever.
Okay.
Lynx Fever. Yeah.
I just think that like they need an in-between game. You know what I mean? With the Fever. They not getting enough, baskets in that like around that free throw, that 15-foot area, in order for them to, you know, because what's the girl? Kelsey Mitchell, when they played against what's the girl? When they played against the Aces, Kelsey Mitchell was hot. She was cooking, she was rolling, right?
Yeah.
But then at some point in time, like your legs, you know, like as the third quarter into the fourth quarter, those shots are not dropping. You know, and that's what they need, somebody who can get that easy basket or a higher percentage shot. you know, if you can't get it down there to a Leah Boston, you got to be able to get a higher percentage shot than just that 3-pointer.
And see, and to me, that's what they were doing last year. And they actually did it against Olivia the second half. Cailin delivering them the ball and giving them easy looks like bunnies, layups, mid-range, because Aaliyah shoots mid-range sometimes. She'll get the high pick and shoot the little mid-range, stuff like that. I mean, I hear you, but to me, they don't rely on the three down the stretch. They was winning games because Cailin was opening up the floor. She was penetrating and giving them girls easy looks to finish the game out. You know? Yeah.
And then, well, also with Indiana is that like they play up tempo, right? And so they have to, when you slow them down, then that, you know what I mean, that changes the complexion of the game. So they need to learn how to be able to score consistently in the half court, you know, and then it'll come to that even in the playoffs. You know what I mean? Like playoff basketball is not really run and gun like during the regular season.
To me, that's their style, and that's what they got to do.
Yeah.
That's what they have to do.
Absolutely.
They have to do that. That's where they get their advantage at. And to be honest with you, teams ain't slowing them down. Their coach is.
Their coaches.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just from my viewpoint. They gotta push pace.
I'm with you.
They was running teams out the gym, man, the second half of the season last year. You know, they gotta push pace, man. That's just what I think. And then all the rest of the stuff opens up, you know. But I understand. I know you're in love with that mid-range, Mike. I know you're in love with it, and it's effective. Don't get me wrong.
It's more consistency. It's the percentage. You know what I mean? Like it
changes the D.
Yeah, but layups is even
pressure on that defense too.
But layups is even a higher percentage.
Yeah,
and this is what they
get in there.
But that's what they were doing. That's what she does. She was giving them girls layups down the stretch against New York toward the end of the game. She pushing, giving them girls bunnies. Aaliyah getting layups. Kelsey getting down. Layups is even a higher percentage.
Yeah, like I said, if you can penetrate and you can get in there, that's true. But you know what I mean? Like, all right, so they go to like a motion. They go to like in their half, they go to a motion offense, right?
And that's silly.
And that's you know, the motion offense is cool too. But when you counter that motion offense, you know, then they have to find other ways to score.
And that's what's hurting Indiana. That motion offense is easy to scheme against, it's easy to scout, and it's easy to stop. When Cailin was at Iowa, she played a read and react. Last year, the second half, read and react. Here comes Stephanie White. She even said it in her press conference when they talked to her about Dewanna leaving. She said, yeah, the system is kind of the same, but, you know, different play. She's bringing a system. Fuck that system. You got to go read and react. I remember listening to Cailin do a press conference, and she said, I'm giving you guys my scouting report. I like to get to the left for the three, this, that, and the other, but good luck trying to scout it because we play read and react. You can't scout that. This is what the difference is. And they trying to make this girl do something else.
Yeah, they trying to make her more predictable. But look, that just goes to like, all right, when you think about like that, the triangle offense for the Lakers and for the Bulls, right?
Yeah.
You know, some people, you know, like it was some discussion about that. They was like, that's what the thing is with that triangle is like, it's more so reactionary based on what the defense does.
Yes, read and react.
That's what some people don't really get about that triangle.
Read and react. And Mike, I know I was on it. I said Stephanie White will be the next coach. I wouldn't be surprised if it go back to what you said. I would not be surprised if Lisa Blue to wind up coaching that team.
It's been some talk.
Because remember, Mike, it took two coaches. They went through three. They went to the first coach, Kevin somebody, then the curly head guy, and then Doug Collins, and then they landed on Phil. So it might take some coaches.
Yeah. Let me see. Lucy Goosey said a good mid range is like a jab step. It's the most energy efficient shot, I think. If you look at Carmelo Anthony, the way he used that jab, you know what I mean? Like, he will jab you and without even dribbling the ball. And if you give him 1 inch, you know, he gonna score. Especially because where he catch the ball at, he already in his range, he's within his range. So you gotta respect that jab. You know what I mean? You have to respect that jab, or else you know
like I said, a mid range is great for the individual player. It makes them very efficient. It makes them very efficient. But to me, when you got somebody that's got so much gravity giving you layups, nothing's better than that.
All right,
goddamn, Mike Krzyzewski said it. I'd give Cailin the ball and let her play.
So you would rather see Cailin at the 1 or the 2 then?
She's a point guard. She is the 1. She's the system.
All right, so let me say, Mr. Soul Auctioneer said, I'm from Iowa. Last year, Bluta said she wanted time off to watch her son play. When he graduates, she'll still be open to a job. I just think that trust between Lisa Bluta and Cailin Clark is just something that, you know, that respect and that trust.
Here's the challenge. Oh, go ahead, Jim.
No, I was just going to say there's some coaches that come in and say, my way or the highway, you do this system, and that's all we're going to do.
That's not great.
And that's not Lisa Bluter. She's let's see what I got, and we'll play around our strengths.
Now the problem with her is getting those WNBA veterans to respect.
Listen,
because now it's going to look like she's been brought in just for Cailin. So that might create some divide in the locker room. So
Kent, appreciate you, man. Appreciate you. Kent says, me personally, I think CC comes back full strength. She's going scorched earth and do it her way now. I mean, if they allow her to heal up, like, you know what I mean, like she said, I think she is going to. It's becoming, in my opinion, it's becoming very obvious to Stephanie White that she gonna have to back off and just allow Cailin to do what Cailin do. I think it's just gonna be too much pressure. Her job, if you know, her job is going to be on the line. It's going to go, like you said, Clayton. It's going to go Cailin Clark way. I mean,
the fans are attached to her.
Yeah, absolutely.
They're not showing up for Stephanie White. Listen, Lisa Bluter said it best. You don't go whoa to a racehorse. And that's what Stephanie White is doing. She's going whoa to a racehorse. But she got to heal. That girl needs to heal. I know they got these television dates and they did all this, but injury is injury. Sit that girl down and leave her on that bench and let her rest. I wouldn't bring her back for the Commissioner's Cup. I wouldn't even bring her back for the All-Star game.
You wouldn't?
It's not that serious.
No.
Well,
you got to think with the All-Star game, though, that's people want to see it, though, Clayton.
It's in Indiana. But listen, this is my future. This is I've invested in. I'm not ruining. Come on, man. It's an All-Star game. That's an exhibition. Michael Jordan got hurt his second year. He was voted in, but his ass sat on the bench.
Not about that. He
had a broken foot. Sometimes it just is what it is, Mike, you know? That's what I would do, me personally. I wouldn't bring her back. I would let this year play out.
Hey,
what their record, what are they? They 500 now? Or did they lose that?
They back to 500. They're 8-8 again.
Oh, okay, 8-8 because and Kelsey Mitchell has been playing really good.
She's on the tail.
Hey, I want to highlight this because Mr. Soul Auctioneer points this out. He says that Clark's game is heavily influenced by Iowa's old school 6-on-6 high school days, and Bluter and Pullman both played 6-on-6. I don't know if you guys know this, but and my wife is from Iowa, and when she played in high school back in the 80s, they still played this version of women's basketball, 6-on-6.
I heard.
And if you don't know what that is, it's 3 in the back court and 3 in the front court. You cannot, you could not. If you were in the back court, you couldn't cross the center line.
Yeah.
So you always had 3 of your team on the defensive side and 3 of your team on the offensive side.
Wow.
And it was a very weird setup, but it was supposed to be that, well, women, young women aren't built for the fast-paced 5-on-5 full court game. And they still played that into the 80s where you were on the offensive side or the defensive side, and you had it was like you could only dribble like twice and have to pass it. It was a very weird game. But and again, Mr. Soul Auctioneer knows what I'm talking about. He said it was very fast. And what happened was a lot of girls, including my wife, had a lot of injuries because of the fast pace, and it was they were actually more prone to injury. And one of my wife's friends who was on the team with her ended up going to Iowa, getting her law degree, and she was part of the team of lawyers that sued the state of Iowa to let them play 5-on-5.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. My wife has all sorts of stories about playing 6-on-6. Her grandmother played basketball in Iowa, but way back in like the 40s, and they played 6-on-6 way back then.
Wow. I did hear Lisa Blue to talk about that before. I watched one of her lecture times with a guy was interviewing. Yeah.
So Kent Carlson said, fun fact, back in 1929, actually law was passed to prevent women playing basketball. Guess what state ignored it? Iowa.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know that either. So look, let me ask you this though, Jim, about that 6v6, right? So was it designed to speed up the game, or was it designed to like encourage like passing? Like, what was the purpose of it?
My understanding was that it was designed because they didn't think young women could handle the 5-on-5 full court game. And that was that.
So they played it in a half court set. That was it.
Well, you had a full court, but only 3 of your team could play offense, and 3 of your team could play defense. And the offensive players couldn't cross half court, and the defensive, right? So it was basically 3-on-3 on both ends.
Oh, okay.
I got you.
Wow.
But you were a one-way player. You were a defensive player, or you were an
offensive player. Got you.
Yep.
Oh, okay, yeah. Because I know growing up, me and Clayton, we played non-dribble basketball. That was full court, no dribble. The ball, the ball couldn't touch the ground, and so you had to be in constant motion.
And
and so you couldn't, like I said, no dribble. You got to learn how to move without the basketball.
Yep.
And, that was, we hated it.
We hated it.
But you know,
we wanted to play. We wanted to play so bad. It was like we got used to it though. We got used to it.
Yeah. And when we went and played against other people, we used to, you know what I mean? Like we burn them up because we used to move it without no dribble. You know what I mean? We know how to get to the open spots. It make you a smarter basketball player too, because you got to go to the open spots, and you have to be in constant movement.
I bet it helped. I bet it helped your court vision too.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. Crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
That's definitely the real deal. But
Yeah.
y'all fellas got anything else y'all want to cover? We did.
Man, we hit it all.
Yeah, I thought so.
Tell
Yeah.
Corey to stop messing with your internet.
yeah,
Yeah.
man. I don't know what happened with that internet though, man. I was like, God damn.
Yeah.
But yeah, man. I appreciate y'all. I appreciate everybody. Mr. Soul Auctioneer, Lucy Goosey, Kent Carlson. Appreciate you, man, for the super chats. Eastside Legend was in here. I'm not sure if Eastside Legend's still in the building. Let me see.
Our buddy Time.
Oh yeah, Time in the building. Time always in the building.
Trusty sidekick.
Yeah, trusty sidekick. Soul Auctioneer, Lucy Goosey.
And Felipe.
Yeah, no doubt, man. Yeah, man. So yeah, man. Another great conversation, fellas.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
We'll be back on tomorrow morning at 11 a.m. You know.
Y'all gentlemen enjoy the rest of your day, man.
Yeah, you too.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
all right, Jim. All right, Clayton.
All right.
Everybody make sure they like and subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to leave a comment. Also, we'll be back tomorrow morning at 11 a.m. Probably talk some football tomorrow.
Training camp. All right. Peace.